Literacy, Comprehension and Interpretation, and their applications in the secondary English education classroom. So what is comprehension? According to dictionary.com, comprehension is the capacity of the mind to perceive and understand, the power to grasp ideas, and the ability to know. Some examples of comprehension activities that can be used in a classroom are graphic organizers, presentations, and discussion questions. But overall, students should be allowed and encouraged to show their own ingenuity, creativity, and imagination skill set so that they can produce an apparatus of their meaningful learning. Literacy needs to be both engaging and interactive for the students so that they can make their learning meaningful. So, what does comprehension in the English classroom look like? It is making a deeper meaning of an understanding that has been reached already in a text. So, an example of this is that you can understand that the Earl of Gloucester in King Lear by Shakespeare is physically blinded by the Duke of Cornwall for being a traitor after warning King Lear that he needed to flee from his evil daughters. However, in order to take this understanding to a deeper meaning and comprehension, you have to see the significance of the Earl's physically being blinded. And this is that he has been blind the entire play, oblivious, actually, to the fact that his son Edmund has lied about his son Edgar. Edgar is actually the good child who would do anything for his father, whereas Edmund basically just wants his father to die so he can get his escape. That he can get his estate, not escape. What is an interpretation? Dictionary.com states that an interpretation is an explanation of the meaning of another's artistic or creative work, an oral translation, or the rendering of a dramatic part so as to bring out the meaning or indicate one's particular conception of it. Some activities to promote interpretation in the classroom are having students develop their own questions from the text and interpreting their own answers, using journals to record thoughts from the readings or content spoken in class, having students complete response papers in which they give an interpretation of what they have just been reading, and having students complete a project to demonstrate their interpretations. What does interpretation in the English classroom look like? It is reading further into the text than just reading the text itself. So, an example of this is, in The Birthmark by Nathaniel Hawthorne, the protagonist is Aylmer, a mad scientist who is fully committed to his works, but stops just long enough to marry a beautiful woman named Georgiana. Now, Georgiana had a small handprint on her cheek, and it used to be that her husband found it attractive, but eventually he becomes so obsessed with getting rid of this handprint, that it ultimately kills his own wife. So, one can interpret the ending of the story in several ways. 1. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Every other man thought that Georgiana was simply beautiful, and they even thought that the handprint enhanced her beauty, but her husband decided that she was no longer beautiful because of it. Another one could be that beauty is more than skin deep. Georgiana was not only beautiful on the outside, but she was beautiful on the inside, enough to the point that she allowed herself to be killed by her husband, unintentionally, but still, she loved him so much that happened. Science is always defeated by nature. Nature had created Georgiana to be beautiful, but science, although he thought he was trying to fix her, actually ended up destroying her. Love, when it becomes an obsession, can be deadly. On Aylmer's part, it was deadly because he was so obsessed with finding this cure to rid her of this handprint that it actually killed her. But on her part, she completely, utterly loved him, obsessively loved him, to the point where she drank some potion and it killed her. And finally, another interpretation could be that the small handprint represents Georgiana's innocence. Of course, if you ask Nathaniel Hawthorne himself, he would tell you, oh, all those interpretations are correct. He was never one to give one single interpretation to his stories, or even his own insight into them. Here are my imagery sources, and here are my references. Thank you, God bless you, and have a wonderful day.